Hey, listen, man. America, we're here again on another beautiful day on the Hawks and Friends podcast, man. And I'm just trying to keep my composure because we don't get a chance to be shoulder to shoulders with legends, shoulder to shoulders with icons, man. And listen, man, today's guest needs no introduction, okay? A Hall of Famer, an icon, a legend. Everybody make some noise for Dominique Wilkins!
Appreciate it, man.
What's happening?
What's happening, man? It's good to see you outside of the Hawks arena, man.
I'm telling you, man.
You're not as amped up today as you are at the arena.
Nah, man, because, I really be into it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But you amped up, but you ain't amped up like that.
I'm amped up because I'm a fan. When I'm at that arena, I paid for them to hear my frustration.
I feel you.
You feel what I'm saying? No cap, because they represent us. I am really from Atlanta, but you have been representing Atlanta for quite some times, man, and we want to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, man. I appreciate it. Atlanta basically made me who I am.
Right.
When I came out of high school.
Right.
Actually, I moved to Atlanta first before I went to the University of Georgia.
Uh-huh.
And Georgia kind of got me out of the situation that I was in North Carolina, which was a pretty intense, dangerous situation.
Right.
And this was the first city that I came to.
Man, and take it back to the 80s, man, the NBA draft. 82, first round, third overall pick. Like, how did that feel? Because, I had a dream to be in the NBA, but it's people that actually lived our dreams. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we be living through people. So when we say that, and when people say that to me, I really understand. And when we see y'all on the court, everybody had a dream of being an NBA star.
Oh, you know what? That was our dream growing up. 'Cause I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland.
Right.
And at the time, Baltimore had the highest crime rate in America at that time. And I left home when I was 16 and got discovered on the playground the next day in North Carolina. That's where my high school career started.
Right.
And a guy asked me, he said, "Hey, son, you live here?" I'm like, "I'm not sure yet."
Right.
He said, "Where you going? You go leave from here?" I'm like, "I'm not sure." And he looked at me. He said, "Come go with me." I don't know why I followed.
Uh-huh.
And he showed me his house, showed me a kitchen, showed me the bedroom. He said, "You can have all this. The only trade-off is you have to play for my high school team." He was the high school coach
in
North Carolina.
Uh-huh.
And I looked and I was like, okay. And that's how my career started. We were 76-1 in 3 years in the state of North Carolina, high school.
Ooh, how many championships?
Back-to-back.
Back-to-back.
Back-to-back championships.
See, I don't know how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they feel.
And in North Carolina, that type of record was unheard because I came out the same time with James Worthy. We had so many. We had Mitchell Wiggins. We had a lot of guys come out of North Carolina. Of course, you had Mike come out of North Carolina, right. And you had Jimmy and Black. It was so many guys that played in basketball in the state of North Carolina back then, especially in North Carolina, Duke.
Duke
Wake Forest. My high school teammate went to Wake Forest, so we had a lot of guys, man. And so to have that type of record in high school in that state,
right?
That's basketball mecca.
And for somebody to pull over to say, hey, for somebody to stop their car, get out, and say, "Man, I want you to play for me," you got talent. Because my parents didn't even stop to even watch me.
But the funny thing is, his players was playing on the playground that day, and I just went out and started playing with them. After I got off the bus, and he walked up,
right,
and the rest was history. After that meeting, I'm tell you what, he might be the greatest coach that I ever had outside of Mike Fratello that I've had in my career. He refused to let us lose.
I was just finna say that.
So we had a different. That team had a heart of a lion.
So speak on having coaches, because people don't understand roles are important.
Let me explain something about coaching. Coaches are put there to help you develop, teach you how to play the game, and sometimes coaches use the best players as an example to push all the other players.
Correct.
All the coaches I ever had always jumped on me harder than anybody else because first of all they know I could take it. Two is that if they could say stuff like that to me and get on my case, and sometimes even belittle you sometimes, nobody else can say anything. And that's the way all the coaches taught and developed me. And that's how I learned how to play the game from a fundamental standpoint, from a toughness standpoint. One thing I hate when guys, if a coach get on you too hard, you shut down, you clam.
Got to build aggression.
I mean, this is what we signed up for. So it's a lot come with being the king when you're the leader of the team.
Now,
you got to
speak on that.
Because you got to be able to take the heroics as well as
you are the target.
The criticism.
You are the target.
Yeah. And you know what? That's what I love.
Right.
That's what any great player would tell you, from Michael to Magic to Bird. And I played against them. These guys was monsters.
The pressure builds you.
And the pressure makes us who we are.
Right.
And the only way you can measure your greatness is you got to play against the greatest.
And I'm glad you said that, because I feel like it ain't no pressure in today's basketball. If you look at it, because OG, listen, man, when y'all was playing from the 80s and the 90s, even the early 2000s, you still seen it. Like, they call fouls. It's like the game has gotten soft.
Well, you could get away with a lot more. I mean,
they shooting from full court.
The fouls are, it is what it is.
Right.
But this is the thing, big guys.
Right.
If you stayed on the perimeter, I'm gonna use a guy like Miles Turner.
Mm-hmm.
If you stayed on that perimeter as a big guy, like he does, and a lot of the big guys, and if you miss 4 or 5 of those threes, you coming out. You coming out again. Even as small forward.
Right.
And if I wasn't making those shots, coach said, hey, step in, get to the free throw line, get to the post.
Right.
Take somebody off the dribble. So we was able to mix up our offense.
Right.
Because when you see highlights, what do you see?
Right.
Slam dunk, slam dunk, slam dunks. Well, it's very difficult to get over 26,000 points on dunks. I was a creative scorer. Everything you see these guys
talk your talk now.
You know what I mean? Because, the mid-range game, post game, getting to the free throw line, jump shot, I had all that.
Yeah.
Back then. So it's like a lot of times people think that this is a new invention.
Right.
It's not.
It's been there.
We took a lot more high percentage shots. It's just a fact. Because I hear a lot of times people say, well, the mid-range shot is obsolete. It's just a dumb comment because it's the most high percentage shot outside of a layup or a dunk. Now, if you're great shooters like Curry and a lot of these guys and Luke and all these guys, you're great shooters like them guys can make those shots. But you got a lot of guys taking that shot that shouldn't be taking.
You could develop a good mid-range shot.
Yeah.
You dangerous.
Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
Even even Steph. You look at Durant, DeRozan.
Right.
He rarely ever takes a three.
What about Luka? I like Luka.
All them guys who can score,
right,
all shoot mid-range shots.
What Dirt?
Well, again, guys like that kind of, revolutionize the mid-range shot.
Right.
Because, it went away for a long time.
Everybody trying to shoot threes.
Yeah, and then it came back. But them guys really showed the analytical guys that y'all are dead wrong.
Right.
Because this mid-range shot, I can still get 30.
Right now.
I mean, I've had games where I had 52, 54, and had 1 3. And people say, oh, it's possible. It's impossible for you to get 57 points and 3 quarters. You didn't shoot threes.
Hitting buckets on them all day.
But what that says, though, is I shot a lot of free throws.
Right.
That's where my threes came and ones. And so my whole objective was to get to the line.
Get to the line.
And you have to attack people. And that's what we did.
So looking at these matchups, because Michael stopped a lot of great teams that could have possibly been champions. If you looking at the matchups right now, like, what was your toughest matchup?
Oh, man. I mean, Chicago was always tough.
Right.
Chicago was always tough. New York, Philadelphia, Indiana, had Milwaukee. I mean, Philadelphia, they had a super team back then.
Talk your talk.
So everybody was tough. But, I never feared anybody I ever played against. There's one guy that made me nervous.
Who?
Out of New York, his name was Bernard King.
Wow.
And if you don't know who he is,
gotta look up Bernard King. What happened now? What happened?
Because he's getting 40 and nothing you can do about it. Nothing. I mean, I couldn't sleep the night before I played against this guy.
And he getting 40 off top.
I used to say to myself, I said, look, I know he going to get 40. So, you know what? I'm going to get 40. We just call it wash.
We just going to call it even.
Okay, yeah.
Because everybody got that Michael Jordan effect, like they scared of Mike.
Michael and I are the only two foes in NBA history to average over 30 against each other for a whole career.
Every time y'all played each other.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't think about it. Somebody brought it to my attention. I look back on those games. I'm like, whoa. He had 47. I might have 42. I might have 45. He might have 40. He had 60 when I had, 40. And all those games was like that, man, because he brought out the best in me. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I know I brought out the best in him. We love competing against one another. And that's one of the things.
It ain't no competing no more.
I had to guard Larry Bird. I had to guard Dr. J. I had to guard Worthy, English, Dantley, Aguirre every night. We couldn't duck each other. Because I was not going to go over there and play the power forward position. They had a license to kick your butt, and I was not dealing with them guys. So at 6'8.5", I'm going against some guys who were 6'11", 6'10", small forwards. But that's the way it was. We didn't think twice about it. We were like, hey.
Now they picking. They nitpicking.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, man. I'm like, bring it on, Because, most of the time that I played against Boston, Kevin McHale at 7 foot was guarding me.
You had to go out there and bust.
It didn't matter. The size. Right. We never, because this is the thing, most great scorers will tell you. Uh-huh. And, Bird and Jordan, the prime example of this. We never worried about the guy who was guarding us. Mm-hmm. We worried about the guy who was double teaming. Because we knew we can beat this guy.
But if they bring only
guy, and see, people ask me sometimes, how do you beat a double team?
Okay.
You go before it gets to you.
Right.
You know it's coming. Right. But if you can get by this guy first, the double team comes, it's too late.
Right. And there's now somebody open.
Yeah. And that's how I used to get a lot of my points, because I knew the double team come. Now, if the double team comes quick, you give the ball up, because you're always going to come back.
So nowadays, you don't really too much see it's just a lot of the elements of the game is just changed. You don't really see a double team. You don't see
the double teams is like, you play an area.
Right.
So if he comes to the area, you got help. It was a lot of one-on-one defense back then. And, of course, you needed help with certain guys, because certain guys were monsters.
They just monsters.
And because, like I said, my first 8 games, I felt like I played against 8 Hall of Famers as a rook. And I finally had to get over it, because I said, I know I had to play against these gods.
Right.
But I'm going to let them know I'm a god, too. And that was my mentality. Because you had to have that mentality. Them guys you're going to, you need the Dr. J's and Aguirre's and Worthy and all them. Because Worthy and I, we all came out in 79 out of high school. We actually, our high school senior class across the nation got voted as the greatest senior class ever. Talk. Because of the level of professional athletes that they created. Yeah, we had a lot of guys in that class to go to pros.
And to speak of that class, like the aggression and knowing like the highlight factor was real back then. So even knowing that, nowadays it's like the highlight countdown. It's cool. You done saw it before, but it was like it was demanded. Like you had to go out there and make the highlight. Like speaking of your iconic dunks, what's an iconic dunk that you remember, and remember who you did it on?
Oh man, there's a lot of them, man. I think one of the ones that, and it's been a lot. Well, I think the one that they show a lot of is the one against Bob Lanier in Milwaukee, where the clock was running down and I'm on the post. They throw it to me. I go to the middle. They cut me off. I went back baseline and I jumped. And Bob Lanier, who was 6'11", covered the rim. I think he crossed his arms when he covered the rim. And I turned in air. He was coming down. I was still going up.
And
I dunked it on him right before the buzzer. And that was one of my favorite dunks, because most of my dunks in traffic, that was my favorite. The dunks I had against Boston, where I shot and it hit the rim and I caught it over like 3 or 4 guys. I mean, those type of plays kind of changes the momentum in the game. So, I mean, a lot of my favorite dunks, believe it or not, was in high school. In high school, I was looking in the rim. In high school, I was really
not even the one where you gliding all across the court.
Oh, in high school, man, our point guard was a wonderful point guard, and it was every game on the jump ball. We were trying to get an alley-oop every game. If we got the tip, we had a design where we run wide, and he'd just throw up the either corner of the backboard, and we would go get it.
Is there a moment in your career that you wish you could have done differently?
No, only thing that I regret that I didn't do is bring a championship here in Atlanta. I think that's the only thing I regret. But as far as if I would do anything differently, no, because what I did and the way I did it, it helped build character, personality, respect. And so, winning a ring, a lot of times people don't understand. It ain't always about winning the ring. It's about competing to the highest level. Because I look at this, my ring was giving me the ability to play something that I love. That's my ring. And so, there's only one team that wins every year. A lot of great players have never felt that, So, that's the nature of the beast. That's the way it is. But would I change anything? No. Maybe one thing, the money they make now, but,
It's different. It's different.
Yeah.
These boys getting $256. Back then, a good 9-piece to be straight.
Yeah, I changed that.
$256.
Oh, man, I can't even fathom that. It's crazy.
That's crazy. Now, me and you enter the same part of the building of the arena, and you got a statue. You got something that's out there that's very, inspiring to the city. Like you said, like even though we ain't got no ring, it's you. The energy, the compassion, the aggression, the fight that you wanted to go out there and represent us. We feel that. And we're thankful for that. That is our ring. It's the love that you showed our city. That's our ring. Do you ever go into the front to even see the statue and just take it all in?
Let me tell you a funny story. First of all, let me just say this. What he captured in that statue is everything about who I am. And so when I saw it for the first time, man, I was blown away. I was so emotional I couldn't even shed a tear. That's how emotional I was, that choked up about it. Because it's not just about basketball when you receive something. It's what you've done in that city, how you connected with people, relationships, or everything. So, when it went up, I remember a couple of times I went down, I drove by. So one day I stopped by there, I put a lawn chair out there, had a beer. And I looked up, that's a big fella, we come a long way.
We come a long way.
And that really felt good, man, because it was a moment in my life that I never dreamed of, And even to this day, man, it's still surreal. So, I was talking to Steve Koonin, our GM, and our president, CEO. I said, I rode by the statue the other day, and it looks a little ashy there, Steve. And y'all got
put some lotion on that
y'all
thing.
got to put some lotion on that.
It's still a bronze statue now.
Listen, I went back a couple weeks later. It was shining.
Oh,
yeah.
Shining.
Yeah. So it's just fun, for people to see it, me go down and interact. Because sometimes I'll walk by there and I see people stop by, and they'll look at me, and it's like, "Is that you?" I said, "Yeah, most people think it is."
Yeah.
Yes, man. Yeah, it looked like me. But it's just a pleasure to see people admire it,
No, man, it's just amazing, man, just to see you, you know what I'm saying? Just get to smell your flowers while you still here, because like you say, it's not about the ring. It's about the love.
You know how many times I say that? I said, don't wait till someone's gone before you give them their roses. Give them their flowers while they're here, and appreciate what they've done. I remember when I first came in the league, and I said to Dr. J the first time I played, I said, I grew up emulating everything you ever done. I just wanted to be that next doctor. And I just wanted to let you know how much you meant to my life indirectly. You really helped me elevate my game to a different level. And he said to me, I know they're calling you the next doctor, but it's only one Dominique Wilkins, one Dr. J, but today you can start learning. And I remember he had a great game against me, and I wasn't upset. I said, that's the doctor. That's my idol.
Doctor.
But once I got over that, it was nothing but competing with us.
When did you realize I am Dominique Wilkins? When did you realize, like, you know what? I have to start making my own mark in the game because I'm here now.
I knew before I came in the league, to be honest with you, because before I came to the NBA, I used to work out. A lot of people didn't know this because you couldn't do it at the time, but I did it.
Right.
I worked out with Pete Maravich and Maurice Lucas. So I got one of the most skilled guys in history who was for his time, and Pete Maravich, and I got the toughest guy and one of the toughest guys that ever played the game, and Maurice Lucas, the enforcer. So when I came to the NBA, I wasn't worried about nothing. I'm ready to go.
Right.
But the thing about coming to the NBA in those days is a top 3 picks in the draft. You still got to pay your dues.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I could have averaged 20, 25 plus my first year, but the old heads, as y'all say,
still bust.
And you know, I had Dan Roundfield, Eddie Johnson, and Tree Rollins, young fella. Just play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to do too much. Ain't your time yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But once I got their blessing, because that very next year, I remember Dan Roundfield said, "Now it's time for you to be the captain. You earned it." So you had to earn their respect. You know, they didn't hand you the keys that early.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So speaking of being in the game, like, was there any time where you got knowledge from an individual that you was inspired by? You know, especially like once you come in and you actually meet somebody that you seen on TV.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know, Dr. J, that was authentic. That was just so happened to be there.
Yeah.
Was it somebody like you were truly like, I want to meet this guy?
Well, he was the one. He was the one. The guys I really learned from when I first came, it was Dr. J. It was Maurice Lucas. Magic. I started playing summer ball with them before I came in. They made George Iceman Gervin. Them the guys, Moses Malone. Them the guys that I learned a lot from when I came late. God, these was not just superstars. These was legendary guys.
Right.
Still playing the game. And so I learned a lot from them. And I said, I want to be as good or better than those guys. And the only way you do that, you got to play against the greatest if you want to be the greatest.
And it's crazy that you said that. You played against the greatest, but not only did you play against the greatest, your career is longevity. And you can attest to this. In the NBA, 9 years that's cool. That's good. That's all right. You play long enough where you can establish, make you some money. Once you get into double digits, 10 and better, 12, 13, 14, like, you good. Like, they trying to get every little juice about you.
Yeah, you know, I could have played 2 or 3 more years if I wanted to. I could have got to 19, 20 years.
Right.
But at that time, it was changing. It was about really kind of nurturing the young guys.
Be the vet.
You know, investing in it. Because I remember Chuck Daly said to me when I was in Orlando at the end of my career, and I was starting averaging like 19, 20 points and like 8, 9 rebounds. But I was only playing like 18 minutes a night.
That's still though.
And I remember he came to me and said, "We're gonna start Matt Harper because we need more scoring."
Right.
And I said, "Chuck, let me say this to you. You don't have to blow smoke." I said, "Don't insult my intelligence."
Right.
I was leading the league in points per minute.
Right.
I said, if you want to start the young guys, hey, I'm not no problem with that. I understand things are changing.
That cool.
But don't come with me with that. Come on, really?
It's going 20 points in 20 minutes.
Yeah. And
You gonna score every minute.
Yeah, like, guys, this is what I've done. You know? So if it's about development, I'm cool with that. But let me know up front. This is what it is.
Right. It's about the business too.
Yeah, instead of insulting your intelligence.
Come at me correct.
Yeah. So I saw the change, and I said, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna retire and go into the front office, and that's what I did.
Say no more. Now you've been in the game for quite some time. Like, what is the most craziest fan interaction that you had? Because today's fans ain't fans.
Hey, no.
Back in the day was fans.
Hey, listen, they had a guy in Detroit called Leon the Barber. I can't even tell you the stuff he said. Some of the stuff he said to us behind the bench, and he sat right behind our bench. And he had 2 big bodyguards sitting there. And some of the stuff he said you can't say on air. It's not clean enough for television.
But see,
it was bad.
People don't know that like fans back then was trash talkers.
But they didn't get thrown out because it wasn't for us. It was entertainment. We didn't get upset, get fans thrown out. We just didn't do it. Not unless a fan came out of the stands and did something. But talking, hey, all they did is motivate us.
Right, because it's supposed to make you bring the dog out.
And because that shows you your toughness too.
Kind of like shut him
Why
up.
I'm gonna get that fan thrown out? He obviously is a fan of mine because he
came to see me play.
He's talking crazy, and because this is what motivates him. But you know what? There's something, that same fan, Leon the Barber, after the game would ask me for my shoes.
All the time.
So it was never personal. He was supporting his team, So it was a lot of fans around the league like that. I mean, we loved it. We embraced it.
Who was the best trash talker as a player?
Oh, man, a lot of my brother was one of them. Churro. Yeah, I remember he told me, he said, big bro, you ain't scoring no more tonight. I said, little bro, I got 40. I don't want to score no more. I'm done. As a matter of fact, coach, take me out. I don't even want to play no more.
Well, you asked to be taken out because you too good versus you asking the coach, why you taking me out?
The only reason I said that because he was talking trash, but it was a lot. Chuck Person, Indiana Pacers, oh, my God. It was almost like we fought every game. We had a fist fight or shoving at something every game.
Every game.
Yeah. And then you got Larry Bird. Larry Bird, if you wasn't ready, he took your heart.
Ooh.
Larry was great. And it was a lot. It was quite a few guys that talked like that, but Larry and Chuck was some of the best. Larry was number one because everything he said, he did it.
He backed it up.
He backed it up.
That's a bad boy.
He's a bad. And that's why, again, I hate when people ask. I had a guy ask me, did I think I could score 15 points a game in today's game?
Could you?
I said, is that a trick question? I said, which quarter?
I'm
like, are you serious?
Right.
And I said, I averaged 30 in the hand check era.
Right.
I said, what do you think I'd do if you can't touch me? I'm like, come on, man. Really?
Can't touch me.
We all like physical contact.
Facts.
Man, I wanted to bump and grind down around the basket because the thing about when you can feel a guy, you know how to play him.
I already know how you play.
I already know how you can play because if I can feel you, I got you.
I already know how you play.
Because if I can make you commit one way, I'm going opposite. And people say, well, what do you mean by that? I said, a lot of times when you guys catch the ball, the first thing you do is dribble. Well, what you do when you can feel a guy, you commit one way or the other. If you feel him move to your right, you know you drop and go left. And those are all the things we learned in high school, college, to prepare us for the pros. So all that stuff, say up and under, drop step, power, we learned that at a very early age. The thing is how can you put pressure consistently on a team,
right,
if you don't attack?
Right, you have to attack.
See, my whole thing was, this is my strategy. If I'm playing against another great player on the other side of the ball,
right,
if I can get 2 fouls on him early, now I create an advantage for myself because now he's not going to play me as hard.
He's going to back up. He's going to back up.
Trying to get that third foul.
Right.
And so you create that advantage early. Now you get going. Now the ball is going in the basket. Your level of confidence is elevated. And, you trying to get that third foul on before you get to halftime.
I feel like we're getting our coaching on. And since we in our coaching, and this is Hawks and Friends, what you think them Hawks got to do, my man? Well,
first of all, we got to stay healthy, man. I mean, injury, we've been hit with that injury bug, and, we got guys out right now. But, I got to give it to these guys, man. They still fighting.
Right. We got to fight.
Still fighting. They playing hard.
Got to fight.
And each night it's a different guy to step up.
Right.
Last game was Trey hitting a big shot.
Need that.
Big fourth quarter
that
he had. But, you look at Ricochet, he played well that night. Dyson Daniels played well. And that's what you got to have when you're decimated, with injuries. You got to do it collectively. It's hard to do it with one guy.
Yes, sir. And that's crazy because as a collective, as the city, we all want to say thank you again for bringing that energy and that love. And that's why you got a statue. Ain't nobody got no statue.
You know what? There's only one jersey I felt good in throughout my career, and I'm not just saying this. It's a Hawk jersey. When I was with Boston and L.A. Clippers and I didn't feel right. I didn't look right in those jerseys.
Yeah, you look right in them colors, man. But only this red and yellow matter, man.
That's right. That's right.
Box fade. Hit you in the head. OG, it's an honor, man. Don't let this be your last.
Oh, no. We can do it anytime, man.
And then we at your crib.
Yeah.
They got a Picasso. Got a pool, and he got a gazebo. And don't nobody be over here. The gazebo for him.
You're right. Yeah, that tiny house when I want to get away from my grandkids, I go over there.
He got a tiny house to get away from his house. He got a house to get away from his original house. He tired of that house. Hey, man, it's a blessing and an honor, man. And, like you said, we just want to continue to give you your flowers while you're here, and we appreciate you, and we're thankful for everything that you've done for the city.
Thanks,
and we're glad that you came and did it for our city. That's why I wore this jersey. Let you know, man, it's still hit. That's crazy that you could do something so long ago and it still.
You know what's funny?
I'm 33.
You know, you can get my jersey. I can't get it.
Why?
They said they had to order it, which is a good problem.
Yeah, I'm about to say, but you created it.
No, but no, then the Hawks will always make sure that I have jersey for the families and grandkids, and I have 2 great grandkids.
I'm a great uncle.
Oh, man, you're too young for a great uncle.
That what you say. My mama had me when she was 45. My daddy was 61, OG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
My daddy graduated high school before you.
Show you right on that.
Show you right. Hey, OG, Atlanta, man, you know what's up, man. Hey, man, it's a great episode on Hawks and Friends. Get it.